Hello, my name is Alex Jang, and my topic for author discussion is called The Short Story Blood Child by the author Octavia Butler. Like I said, the author is Octavia Butler. Here's a picture of her. So, some background information I'd like to give off first about the author is that, she was one of the first African American science fiction authors to ever write a book. Back then, that's a pretty big deal, especially you know, how little African Americans were allowed to do stuff back then, how like limited they were. She was also born in 1995 in Pasadena, California, but then she later died in February 24th, 2006. Um, Not only that she was one of the first African American science fiction authors, she was the first science fiction author to receive a MacArthur Fellowship Award. And that's basically just called a Genius Grant, meaning that it's an award across the nation where it's given to people who've done something very extraordinary academically wise. And also, she was called the Grand Dame of Science Fiction. So, some awards and accomplishments that she received throughout her life is that she first received the Hugo and Nebula Award. That's basically just an award that is fan based by all people from across the country who are also, science fiction who are interested in it. Um, Her book Blood Child was also published in Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine in 1984. That was a pretty big thing back then too as well. Especially it shows like how like well known her book was back then. I thought this was pretty cool. She was also part of the Science Fiction Hall of Fame. I didn't know that was the thing until now, and I think that's pretty cool. And she also got the Arthur C. Clarke Award. Okay, so since my topic is about the short story Blood Child, so here's kind of a summary of kind of what it was. It starts off with a planet that is, dominated by big, powerful, intelligent, insect-like creatures. They're they're pretty much the dominant race of this planet. And not only they weren't the only ones though; they were also colonized by humans too, but they weren't the dominant ones. So that's basically kind of like the setting of it. So to start off with, it starts off of a young boy named Gan. He was a human. He was also part of a human family, and was one of the next humans to he was the next one to be pregnated by one of the insect-like creatures called the Telix. The Telix. He was the next one, and then he later on was picked by a Telix named Togoto, who agreed to be his partner for the rest of his life. So before his turn, he was asked to help perform surgery on another pair. He was volunteered to help perform surgery, and once he started during the process, he started to see how he realized that it was something that he didn't really want to do. It was something that he second thought to himself, and he thought he didn't want to do anymore. So at that point, he threatened himself. He threatened the other insects that he would kill himself unless he didn't have to go through this process of being impregnated. Um, but then later on, Togoto, his partner, like started to convince him that she would like forever take care of him and love him forever, no matter what. And then later on, he decides that he would do the pregnancy. So some of the themes that this story contained, the first one was the imposition of a male experiencing the same as a female, meaning that it kind of just shows, what females have to deal with, and it kind of just shows it kind of sucks. It wouldn't be the same if males were in that position. It would be the same if the males were in that position. Something that no one ever wants to do. It also switched roles of dominant race. It's just kind of the same thing. Like, what if you were in those shoes? Like something that if you want to do it, but the other person has to do it. This shows if you would do it or not. And it also talks about species independence. So the humans in the story, it shows that it's something that they have to do in order to keep the race going, but no one wants to do. So they're kind of like the backbone of society. So they had to kind of carry the weight on their shoulders, even though they really don't want to. Some relations to current issues. First off, illegal immigrants taking occupations by being the backbone of society. Like I said before, it's kind of the same thing. Like, not everyone wants to do it, but some people kind of just have to, man up and just say they just do it. They got to do it in order to keep the society intact. And also, women not being treated equally. Like today, there's been issues where about equality, whether it be the race, women, anything. It kind of just shows like, would you want to be treated this way? It's about equality. It's something that one species, like one race or gender has to do, but the other doesn't have to, even though they don't need to and they don't want to, but they still have to do it. It kind of just relates to the story about how Gan doesn't want to do the pregnancy, but then realizes that he still has to do it. And there's my works cited page, and that's my presentation on my author discussion. Thank you.